Hey everyone, Miss Aselson here talking to you about simplifying algebraic expressions. What we mean by simplifying algebraic expressions is taking a long number sentence and making it more compact or smaller. And we mainly do that by collecting like terms, which means we add together anything that can be added together. In order to solve an algebraic expression, you have to use order of operations. Order of operations means you're first going to do parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And one way to do that, to remember what order they go in, is by using the acronym PEMDAS. Okay, so PEMDAS stands for Pretty Eyes Make Dudes Act Silly, or Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. Either one of those work, but they will help you know what order they go in. So parentheses are going to come first. So anything in parentheses has to be done before the next step. Number 2 would be exponents. So exponents are your little tiny numbers. So if I had a number and I raised it to, that can't really see that. And I raised it to a power. Okay, so that would be my exponent. That little number on top would be my exponent. Okay, then multiplication and division come next. But these two are going to go from left to right, just as if you were reading a book. Okay, so depending on multiplication doesn't always have to come first, but multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction. But they're going to go left to right. Same with addition and subtraction. Those two are going to come last, but they're going to go left to right as well, just as if you're reading a book. So even if subtraction comes first you're going to subtract and then you're going to add. So it doesn't have to go in the multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Those four can be flipped around, but they have to be within their set. All right, so let's take a look at this first one. So if we know PEMDAS, so I'm going to write PEMDAS right here. Okay, parentheses. So the first thing I'm going to do is look and see, is there anything in parentheses? Well, I see that I have 31 minus 9 in parentheses. So I know that that has to come first. So that 2 to the third is still going to stay as a 2 to the third. But now what's in parentheses, my 31 minus 9, is now going to change. So 31 minus 9 is 22. Okay, so I've figured that out. So now this piece of the expression is gone. So now what I have left is that 2 to the third. Well, what 2 to the third really means is 2 times 2 times 2. I'm going to put all of those in parentheses. And then you still have this plus 22. When I have 2 times 2, that's going to give me a 4 times another 2. So altogether, that gives me an 8. So this whole piece right here is an 8. So now I have 8 plus 22. And 8 plus 22, I don't have anything left on PEMDAS. I did my parentheses. I did my exponents. I don't have multiplication, division. So now I'm just going to add. 8 plus 22 is 30. So my final answer is 30. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the next one. I'm going to do PEMDAS on here too. Okay, so the first thing I look, do I have parentheses? Nope, no parentheses. So I'm going to go to the next one. Do I have exponents? Remember, exponents are the little numbers or the powers. Do I have any exponents in there? No exponents either. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is multiply or divide, and it has to go from left to right. Well, when I look, I see that even though this is a fraction, it really means I'm going to divide. So when I think of 16 divided by 4, I know 16 divided by 4 is 4. So I'm going to leave that as a 4. And then it says times 2 plus 13. So I'm just going to write the rest of that one out. Okay, so I did my division. Now I'm going to look. What else do I have? Well, now I have multiplication next. Remember, those are going to go in any order, left to right. So I started with my left, and now I'm moving to my right. So 4 times 2 gives me 8. And then I still have that plus 13. Okay, and now I'm just going to finish that up. 8 plus 13 will give me 21. Okay, this next slide here shows these little long bars here. These are called absolute value. So absolute value is kind of like a parenthesis, and we're going to treat it like a parenthesis. Absolute value says no matter what you get inside those lines, it's going to turn out to be positive. So really, when I take 7 minus 9, I get a negative 2, because 7 minus 9 is negative 2. But then I'm going to put it in those absolute value symbols, and then I'm going to finish out plus 4. Okay? When I have absolute value, that means whatever is inside, I'm going to take out, and it's going to be positive. So because it was a negative 2, now it's a positive 2. And then I'm just going to add that 4. So 2 plus 4 will leave me with 6. Okay? On the next one, we're going to take the top and the bottom and treat them just a little bit separately. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is look at parentheses, look at the top, and I see I have parentheses at the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is take 13 minus 4. 13 minus 4 is 9, so I'm going to leave my 9 at the top, and then I'm just going to rewrite what I have on the bottom. So 18 minus 4 squared plus 1. Okay, I'm going to put PEMDAS on here because this one has a few more steps. Okay, so we took care of our parentheses. We don't have any more parentheses. So the next thing I'm looking at is exponents. When I look, remember, exponents are the little numbers. Okay, so I do have an exponent right there. Okay, so 4 squared is like 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. So now I'm going to leave that 9 at the top. And now I have 18 minus 16. That minus is still going to stay there. We're not going to do anything with that minus. And then we have plus 1. Okay? When I look, I don't have anything to multiply. I don't have anything to divide. So now I'm just doing adding and subtracting. And remember, those are going to go from left to right. Okay? So when I look, I'm going to move this up here. My 9's going to stay on top. And now I have, when I look first from left to right, I have 18 minus 16. Well, 18 minus 16 is 2. And then I have that plus 1. Okay, so that's going to come over to 9 on the top still. That didn't change. 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, and this is a fraction, but in order to simplify that fraction, we're going to have to reduce that. Well, I know 9 divided by 3 is 3. So my final answer is a 3. In these problems, what we have is a variable. A variable is a letter that stands for a number. And up here, you'll see that each one of the letters, we're given a number we're going to put in for that letter. So instead of the letter X right here, we're going to put the number that X represents. So I'm going to leave it in parentheses, and I'm going to say 4 plus, well, my X is a 3, and I can see that right here. X equals 3. So 4 plus 3, and then we're just going to solve it. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So my final answer is a 7. Okay, we're going to do the same on the next slide. Okay, here we have an X and a Z right together. When you have two letters or two numbers that are right together, right next to each other, you know that that means multiply. Okay, it's starting with an X. Well, I already know my X is a 3, so I'm going to start with a 3. Okay, and then I know I'm going to multiply something. I'm going to multiply my Z. Well, when I look up here, my Z is 0. So I'm going to stick a 0 in. Okay, and then it just says plus 12. Okay, so if I were to do PEMDAS, okay, right away, do I have parentheses? Not in this problem, I don't have parentheses. Do I have any exponents? No exponents. So now I'm at the multiply. Okay, we do have this piece right here, 3 times 0. 3 times 0 is 0, and then I have the plus 12 left. So 0 plus 12 results in 12. So 12 will be your final answer. And so this one's getting a little bit more complicated on you. So again, we're going to express the following expressions using these. Okay, so we have variables or letters that are going to stand with numbers. Okay, so we're going to start with our 2. And then it says W. Well, I see right here my W is a -2. And because these are right next to each other, I know they have to be multiplied. So in order to multiply, I'm going to put a parenthesis right here and stick a -2 in there. And then I'm going to close that parenthesis and I'm going to square it because it says squared. And then it says minus, so I'm going to keep my minus, x. Well, when I look up at the top, my x is 3. So I'm going to put a 3 right there. Okay, so my next step is PEMDAS. Okay, so I'm going to put it right here so I can look and make sure I'm doing it in the right order. Okay, first off, I have parentheses. Well, when I look at my parentheses, there's nothing that I can do inside that parenthesis. It's just a -2 in there. So it's kind of all by itself right now. Okay, so then I'm going to move on to exponents. Well, I see that this has a -2 and it's squared. So that's like -2 times -2. Well, a -2 times a -2 is a 4. So I'm going to keep this 2 right here, and I'm going to stick a 4 in where that -2 squared was, and then I'm going to subtract the 3. Okay, now I'm going to go to multiplication, and I see I have a little bit of multiplication because these parentheses, when you have number next to a parentheses, that means to multiply. So I'm going to distribute this 2 to the 4, so 2 times 4 is 8. And then you're subtracting that 3. 8 minus 3 is 5. And that's your final answer for that one. Okay, just like before when we had this bar right here, this fraction bar, it's like division, but we're going to work on it at 2 separate pieces and then put them together in the end. Okay, so we're going to start with our 12, and it says subtract z. When I see z, z is 0. So that's going to be my top half, 12 minus 0. And then we're going to put our bottom half in. I have a 2, and I'm going to multiply it by x. When I look at my x, I have a 3. Okay, and then if we were to simplify that, 12 minus 0 is still 12. And then 2 times 3 is 6. And I'm not done yet because I can't leave it at 12 over 6 because I can reduce that even more. So 12 divided by 6 is 2. So my final answer on that one would be a 2. So this will conclude your Unit 1 LT1 notes simplifying algebraic expressions. You are set to do the homework for this, so you need to pull up the Unit 1 LT1 worksheet, the homework sheet. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand and one of us will be around to help you.